protons are there, so they will feel like this in a particular energy levels. And suppose 6 neutrons are there, so they will be filled like this in a pair. So this nuclear force favors pairing of Z and N. The energy term is positive if both Z and N are even. So we have seen in the last lecture, even number of protons and neutrons. These are almost 60% of the elements are having even number of protons and even number of neutrons. Out of this total number of stable isotopes, around 20% are having even odd combination. Even number of protons, odd number of neutrons. Around another 19% are having odd even combination. And only 5, that is around 1%, are having odd combination. So here again, the binding energy term is positive if both Z and N are even. For those elements, this term will be positive. So C5 will be the proportionality constant. So this will be our E5, this one. And negative, that's why plus minus term is there. We have to take positive term if your element is having even combination. Minus term if Z and N are odd. That means this combination. And 0 otherwise. If the elements are having even odd or odd even combination, then this term will become 0. Okay. So after considering all these 5 elements, your binding energy is calculated. So this liquid rock model addresses all this or take into consideration all these 5 interactions and then calculates binding energy. So it is not just the formula. We have taken the theoretical formula as binding energy as ZMP or ZMH plus NMN minus capital M into 931.5 mega electron volt, right? This formula we generally take by just considering Z N, that is number of protons, number of neutrons, mass of hydrogen or proton, sometimes we take MP, then Mn, mass of neutron, 1 neutron, and the total mass of that nucleus. So all these are calculated, this delta M, that is mass defect, is calculated, multiplied by 931.5. This is just broad value of binding energy. Exact value of binding energy can be calculated by using this formula. Okay. So here again we need to know A, that is mass number, Z, that is atomic number, that is number of protons. That's all. And values of C1, C2, C3, C4 and C5. So all these values, these are given, standard values are there, constant. So these are these values, C1 15.75 up to C5 39 mega electron volt. So after substituting all these values, we can get the binding energy. So some problems based on that we will solve. Next lecture we will see. This semi-empirical mass formula is given based on this binding energy. Then we can calculate, we can after estimating this binding energy, you can substitute here and estimate the mass of any neutral atom. So we are going in different manner. Here binding energy by using this formula, after knowing A, after knowing Z and all this C1, C2, C3 up to C5, and then substitute here. all the values, you will get mass of any neutral atom. This formula is called as semi-empirical mass formula. What does it mean? Empirical means experiential. Okay, by experiment. So experimental plus theoretical, then it is called as semi-empirical mass formula. Both the ways we are using in constructing this formula, that's why it is called as semi-empirical mass formula. Okay, experimentally we are not going to define it. Okay, so theoretically plus C1, C2, C3 values are calculated experientially. So these along these values, this formula is called as semi-empirical mass formula. So it is not just taking, just like our vegetables or grains, we take the nucleus and weigh it. It is not possible. Okay, so different calculations are needed like this. Some formulas we need, then only we can calculate mass, or calculate in the sense we can estimate. Okay, exactly we cannot say that this is mega electron volt is binding energy. Some experimental errors will be there. Okay, so it's difficult to for such a small scale, at such a small scale, atomic and nuclear scale, we cannot take any measurement exactly, but it is needed in many applications. Okay, as you like in space physics, all the calculations need to be uh, done very correctly, right? Otherwise any rocket or anything, any experiment they are doing, that cannot be performed well. Okay, so all these are needed, exact calculations are needed. So that's why in physics many formulas are developed. It's not easy to calculate at atomic and nuclear level, all the calculations to be done exactly, right? So for us, some formulas at broad level we are taking it. Okay, exact calculation are not needed for us because theoretically only we are calculating, but at experimental level, where in CERN laboratory and all, they need very minute calculations, no error, negligible error should be there. Then only they can perform the experiment well and take observations for, and they can use it in any applications. Okay. The second model is shell model. This is developed by this Maria Mayer and Hans Jensen. It is similar to our atomic model. Just I have shown you. You can consider nucleus as a layer, spherical. It is spherical in shape. One layer, then above it, second layer, third, and so on. So all of structure. So that's why it is called as shell model. So this nucleonic shells are shells of neutrons and protons linked together. There can be as many as 6 nucleonic shells. There may also be hollow neutrons or protons beyond the nucleonic shells. So in this nuclear shell model, just like our atomic shells, K shell, L, M, N, like that, it is called as first nucleonic shell, second nucleonic shell, third, fourth, and so on. So just like that, just like electrons, we say that they are revolving in a particular orbit. So the arrangement of neutrons and protons, they are in a particular manner, like pairwise. I have just shown you pairwise they are arranged. 2 protons, 2 neutrons, 2 protons, 2 neutrons, like this. So all these shells are filled like that. Okay. So this is called as shell model. And some combination of these two is called as collective model. This is the third model. It is not discussed in your book. So here we have finished first chapter, that is nuclear structure. Second chapter is radioactivity. Now there are radioactive elements we have just seen. Out of the known elements, most of the elements are unstable elements, radioactive elements. Only 258 are the stable isotopes. So 85% are unstable. That's why this area around this stable band of stability, is more. Band of stability is very narrow band, and around there is a wide range in which all the unstable or radioactive elements lie. And why there are more number radioactive elements? They are naturally occurring, no doubt, but what is the stability ratio we have seen? N by Z equal to 1. If it is nearly equal to 1, those elements are stable. In those elements where number of neutrons are more, than protons, they will try to get the stability by emitting extra neutrons. And during that emission, those neutrons get converted into proton, and number of proton will be increased and number of neutrons will be reduced. So in a way, they will try to get the balance. Okay. So radioactive elements are made up of atoms whose nuclei are unstable, and they give off atomic radiation as a part of process of attaining stability. Just I explained you. What are the examples of radioactive elements? Like radium, thorium, actinium, proactinium, and so on. So natural radioactive elements are present in a very low concentration in Earth's crust. Though number of radioactive elements are more, but they are found in a very low concentration in the Earth's crust. And deep inside the Earth's crust, they are lying. They have to be excavated from there and used for nuclear energy, for creating nuclear energy. They are brought to the surface through human activities such as oil and gas exploration or mining. So during mining activities also they can come out and they can be used for good cause. Okay. And what is radioactivity? Radioactivity is the term given to the breaking up or decaying or rearrangement of an atom's nucleus. So it is the term or phenomena used for breaking up or decaying of the atom's nucleus. So decay occurs naturally and spontaneously to unstable nuclei. As we are discussing about nuclei, we are using this nucleus word instead of element. Okay, so broadly spoken, we are discussing about radioactive elements only. But as we are studying nuclear theory, so we are using this word as unstable nuclei instead of unstable elements or radioactive elements. Okay. Now this instability is usually caused by mismatch between the number of protons and neutrons. Just we discussed this. As number of neutrons are more than protons, so those excess neutrons will be converted to protons, and the gap between this number of neutrons and protons will be filled up. So the number of nuclei of a given substance disintegrating per second is known as activity of that radioactive substance. Means what? Decay per second. Number of nuclei decaying or disintegrating per second is known as activity of that radioactive substance. So radioactivity is nothing but decay per second. So there are different units of this radioactivity. That means to measure this radioactivity, we have different units. So 1 becquerel is nothing but 1 decay per second. So basic unit is 1 becquerel. In the honor of the scientist Becquerel, it is named 1 BQ. In short, it is written as BQ. 1 becquerel equal to 1 decay per second. 1 Curie is denoted by Ci. Marie Curie, right? You know the scientist Marie Curie. So in the honor of the scientist, it is named as Curie. Now 1 Curie is bigger unit. It is 3.7 into 10 raised to 10 decay per second. So it is a very small unit, becquerel. 1 Curie is a big unit. So if you want to convert Curie into becquerel, then 1 Curie equal to 3.7 into 10 raised to power 10 becquerel will be there, because 1 becquerel will be equal to 1 decay per second. So instead of 1 decay per second, you write here BQ. So you will get Curie in terms of becquerel. 1 Rutherford is given by 10 raised to 8 decay per second, right? 1 Rutherford is 10 raised to 8 decay per second. So 1 Rutherford in terms of becquerel will be 10 raised to 8 becquerel. Okay, so like this conversion also we can do. So to measure how much decay has been occurred, that activity is measured in these units: Curie, Rutherford, and becquerel. Okay. Now, doses of radioactive elements, these are different things. They are measured in gray, so that we will see in the next lecture. This is activity, how many atoms they are decayed or disintegrated per second. That is that unit. For a particular radioactive element, it will be different. Okay. How many students? 21. So I'm ending the meeting. From tomorrow, you will have offline lectures. एक मिनट है. Yes, unmute yourself, Gibran. You might have got the timetable na on your WhatsApp group.
नो
नहीं
मैम कुछ
मिला?
नहीं नहीं कुछ
मिला?
नहीं नहीं मैम
तो आज मिलेगा शायद फिर. Where? I'm stopping this lecture now because some of the students they are just creating havoc.
ओके मैम
That's why all these yeah.
Recording
Now
stopped.
we are meeting offline, so nothing will happen. Okay, so I'm ending the meeting. We will talk
Okay,
in the
ma'am.
classroom.
ओके मैम बाय
Next
मैम
lecture. Yeah, bye.